What's going on, Knicks fans? We are back doing another podcast episode. This is podcast episode number 60. Tom Thibodeau has extended with the New York Knicks. Also got some assistant coaches that we can talk on, Jericho Sims news, and just talking Knicks on this Sunday evening. Let's do it.
Let's run that intro.
They're playing basketball. Basketball.
You're listening to the Knicks Nation podcast, where we've got all your Knicks needs covered.
Puts up a three. Bang! Bang! He ties the game!
Now, live from the city that never sleeps, here are your hosts, Anthony and Chris.
What's going on, Knicks Nation? I'm here joined by my co-host, as always, Chris. We're back talking Knicks on this Sunday evening. Appreciate every single one of you joining here tonight. Before we get started, if you're listening on the audio side, if you would kindly just leave us a rating, that would be greatly appreciated over on that side. It gives us, helps us with the rankings regarding that. But Chris, how are you?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Happy to be back here talking New York Knicks. All things New York Knicks related. Hasn't been too much news, but, we did get that little splash where Tom Thibodeau has been officially – is it official, actually? Well, he's been extended by the New York Knicks, as expected. How are you doing, Ant?
I'm doing good. Yes, that Tom Thibodeau news came down a couple of days ago that Tom Thibodeau has been extended for 3 more seasons. It goes in conjunction with the Jalen Brunson contract. So Dibs is here until 2027, 2028. That'll take him. I found it interesting that the financials did not come out, but I'm sure that will be leaked within the next coming weeks or soon. But yeah, Chris, 3 more seasons of Tom Thibodeau. The New York Knicks are 175 and 143 since Tom Thibodeau arrived in 2021. And to put that in perspective, the last 5 New York Knicks coaches have combined record of 147 and 329, going back to 2015.
That's a lot of L's, man.
Yeah,
that is a lot of L's.
It's not good.
I mean, you got to appreciate Tom Thibodeau, right? You got to, if that doesn't, like you said, put things into into perspective as far as Tom Thibodeau coaching the New York Knicks. I know he has a lot of haters. I know a lot of people don't like what he does, but he's come in here and he's changed the culture, man. You cannot deny that. And a 175-143 record in comparison to the last 5 New York Knicks coaches. Yeah,
oh, gosh.
Come on, man. You got to be excited about that. Locking down Tibbs.
For as long as the 5 coaches.
And them. You want me to go down the list?
Yeah, go down the list of what we've been going through. All right, in many years prior than Tom Thibodeau.
I'll start the 2015-2016 season with Derek Fisher. We went 40-96.
Let's just go through one of these one by one. You remember that when Derek Fisher was hired, and it was supposed to be Steve Kerr, but right, it was supposed to be Steve Kerr, and then Kerr took the Warriors job, got the okay from Phil Jackson, and then Derek Fisher, who we thought was the next basketball genius. Yeah,
it wasn't to be. And the Knicks were heavily, heavily favored to get Steve Kerr at that because, Phil Jackson was heavily in his ear, and obviously they had those ties and whatnot. But, I mean, look, Steve Kerr made the right choice at the time, apparently. So heading on after, obviously, Derek Fisher, I don't know if you remember this, he kind of got fed up with Phil Jackson and tried to do things his own way, coach his own way, and he ended up getting fired. And in came Kurt Rambis in 2016. Only coached a handful of games. He went 9-19.
Kurt Rambis, another one of the Phil Jackson, tree, if you want to say. But yeah, That was, I mean, it was a short stint for Kurt Rambis, but then after that, Chris was.
It was painful, but then after that came Jeff Hornacek. Jeff Hornacek from the 2017 season, coached to a record of 60 wins, 140 losses, and that was in between 2017 and 2018. So I actually like Jeff Hornacek. I felt like he got a raw deal, you know? Obviously, there was a lot of turmoil and lots of painful losses and whatnot, but I thought he was all right.
60 and 140. That's Jeff Hornacek's record. Wow.
And then from there we go, David Fizdale, 2019 through 2020, a record of 21 and 83. The guy who supposedly was gonna, lure LeBron James over, right? Because they were so tight.
I really don't have much to say about David Fizdale. I mean, that was terrible, to say the least.
And then, of course, after that, there was Mike Miller, who coached to a record of 17 and 27 in 2020. And for what it's worth, he was all right, He was all right. Granted, that team was pretty bad, but he kind of got a raw deal, in my opinion.
He did. Obviously, I'm happy that Tom Thibodeau has extended with the New York Knicks. We were just going through the coaches prior, just to kind of take it back to how bad it has been, in prior years, and us Knicks fans and Chris and I know this as well. I mean, it has been bad. So Tom Thibodeau came in here. No matter how you feel about him, I saw a lot of people on Twitter saying that they didn't agree with this, that he'll never take the Knicks to the promised land. A coach of Tom Thibodeau's style will never take the Knicks to the promised land. He overuses his players. But you can't, what Tom Thibodeau has done is change the culture here. Ever since he got hired, he changed the culture. Yes, that has to do with, acquiring Jalen Brunson and, Leon Rose and the coaching staff behind Tom Thibodeau, which we'll talk about. It has to do with them as well, but Tom Thibodeau is leading the ship. So, yeah, Tom Thibodeau is here for 3 more seasons. So I'm happy, Chris. I'm happy about that.
Yeah. Same here, man. Look, I've had my moments where I was like, fire Tibbs. This guy's ridiculous. We can't continue this way. Get rid of him. But you can't deny the body of work as a whole, what he's come into when he first came into, with the Knicks, and where we're at now.
Yeah.
And let's not forget, Jalen Brunson made it known. Tibbs is my coach. I'm not signing anything until Tibbs is locked up, basically. So come on, that should speak volumes. They love Tibbs, man. They love Tibbs, so he has to be doing something right.
Yes, indeed. And, we signed Tibbs, but we have also lost, in my opinion, a major piece to the coaching staff. And Johnny Bryant has gone to Cleveland, and now he is with Donovan Mitchell. Him and Donovan Mitchell are extremely close. So incoming is Maurice Cheeks and assistant coach Maurice Cheeks, assistant coach Mark Bryant. Outgoing is Johnny Bryant. And I feel like, I was texting with you about this, Chris, last week, that this kind of like flew under the radar, didn't really fly under the radar, but Johnny Bryant he means a lot to this team, to this coaching staff. One thing about Johnny Bryant is he was always in Tom Thibodeau's ear on the sideline. You would always see him whispering to Tom Thibodeau, whatever he was whispering, foul trouble, situational coaching, substitutions. Maybe he was helping him out in regarding that. But I think Johnny Bryant is a major loss. And look, people are going to say he's a coach, so, so what? But Chris, I mean, Johnny Bryant meant a lot to this organization, and I'm sure he's going to do well in Cleveland. But to me, it's just like the little things that Johnny Bryant brought to this organization. And, I'm sure the Knicks can replace that, and maybe Mark Bryant and Maurice Cheeks is the answer to that. But Johnny Bryant I feel like he still will be a head coach eventually in this league. And, Johnny Bryant, it sucks to see you go. But Chris, I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's just me looking into things, but we are really going to miss Johnny Bryant, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think we are too, for the reasons that you mentioned. Of course, he was always in Tibbs' ears. He was always giving input, and he seemed to be really involved with the players. You know, you've heard him plenty of interviews with guys like Julius Randle, who he would say, "Hey, I was going through something. I went to go talk to Johnny." You know, we've got a lot of players that had that same kind of. It seems like they had a deep trust in Johnny Bryant. So, also he was a young up and coming, coach in this league. Somebody's gonna take the risk on him. We thought it would be us, plenty times throughout the past few seasons. So I agree with you, man. I think he's gonna be missed, and he seems to be popular, especially with the younger players. So I kind of was hoping the New York Knicks would keep him, because when we first started adding assistant coaches, that was our first thought, right? It was like, man, I hope this doesn't mean Johnny Bryant's out.
Yeah.
And at first it was like, nope, he's safe. He's staying with the Knicks. And then boom, we get the news. Johnny Bryant going to Cleveland, linking back up with Donovan Mitchell. But like you said, Maurice Cheeks, Mark Bryant, hopefully they can come together and kind of fill that void a little bit. But they are listed as assistant coaches, whereas Johnny Bryant was listed as an associate head coach, on this Knicks squad. So who knows? Maybe they'll add another player to fill that title per se. But I think we are going to miss Johnny Bryant for sure. And it makes me wonder, though. It does make me wonder, was Johnny Bryant just there as a way to get to Donovan Mitchell and make things look even more attractive for him at the time, Part of me says no, but can't help but wonder now that he's back in Cleveland, following Donovan Mitchell around.
Yeah, I'm sure it was like a tactic by the New York Knicks, but whether that's the case, it turned out to be, it worked out great for the Knicks. Johnny Bryant, he's my opinion, he's one of the best minds in the game, and I'm sure he's going to do well in Cleveland. But coming in, Chris, is Maurice Cheeks and assistant coach Mark Bryant. Mark Bryant is a New Jersey native. Bryant played at Seton Hall before embarking on a 15-year NBA playing career with various teams. He then transitioned to coaching, accumulating 35 years of experience as both a player and coach. Renowned as one of the best big man coaches in the league. And I bring that up because we have not an update, but we're still waiting on who's going to be our backup center, who's going to be our starting center. Maybe they replace Mitchell Robinson. Who knows? Who knows? But Jericho Sims, Chris, I thought that was interesting. So Mark Bryant, obviously he's dealing with, he's a big man specialist, right? And the Knicks have a big man in Jericho Sims who kind of needs some coaching up a little bit. So do you think the Knicks are bringing in Mark Bryant to kind of help out at Jericho Sims, or I thought that was a, sneaky good hire. He was in Detroit. But what do you think about Mark Bryant coming in here and polishing Mr. Jericho?
Yeah, but I mean, to be honest, I don't think he was brought in specifically for like Jericho Sims, man. But maybe somebody like Ariel Hukporti, a guy like that, But the young guys in general, this guy is, Mark Bryant, he seems to be like the big man whisperer in a sense. So I think it was strategic to bring him in, especially considering right now we don't know who the backup big is going to be for the Knicks. Could be Jericho Sims, it could be a platoon with Hukporti, it could be Precious still for all we know if we end up re-signing him. But I think that was a calculated move to get somebody in here that if we don't get a vet in to back up Mitchell Robinson, maybe it just becomes a platoon with Jericho Sims and Hukporti.
Yeah, so, I'm excited that Mark Bryant is here, and we also have this regarding Jericho Sims. Knicks view Jericho Sims as an emergency rotation player. That is from Fred Katz. I'm trying to get the full quote so you guys can, so I can tell you guys a full quote. Okay, he says, it's not just 18 minutes behind Mitchell Robinson. It's also about acquiring insurance. The team views Jericho Sims as an emergency rotation player. That's from Fred Katz, highly respected, reporter, and he covers the New York Knicks. And look, they view Jericho Sims as a replacement player, and that's pretty much what Jericho Sims has been since his time since he's been a New York Knick. He's been a, break glass in case of emergency rotational player.
Yeah.
And look, maybe he can take a big year 3. Maybe we're just being too optimistic. Maybe come August 6th, like Hit Him Up says in the chat, what's going on, Hit Him Up? It's going to be some changes August 6th. Sorry for y'all, precious Tyler Kolek, but he's a goner for Walker Kessler. That's what he says in the chat. What's going on, Hit Him Up?
I'm hearing a lot of that, man.
Yeah, so maybe that can transpire, but yeah, this is from Fred Katz. It's more of what we thought, right? Can you really trust Jericho behind Mitchell Robinson? And it's more of insurance if Mitchell Robinson goes down, and we should expect Mitchell Robinson to go down, right? So, yeah.
I mean, it kind of sucks for Sims, right? Sucks for Sims to kind of have that. I can't even call that a role, break glass in case of emergency type of player. But
yeah,
I mean, I guess it is a role, right? It sucks, but Sims, clearly has a lot of work to do. I guess it's a situational thing, right? Because we've seen Sims play against some backup bigs, and he does fairly well. It's just when you have to put him up against a Jokic or a Bam Adebayo or somebody like that, where that's where the trouble comes, right?
Yeah.
So I get it, and we obviously need a backup big, somebody like Precious at the least. But I think Jericho Sims still has a pretty good ceiling to get to. He still has more to develop, and he's shown some flashes, man.
Big Taz, what's going on? Salute to you as well. Always appreciate you hopping in here. Menno, what's going on? Huck Porty is not better than Skapinsev. Chris, man, they love Scat. They love your guy Scat, man.
He's good, man. He's good. I think they should take a chance on him. I think they should. I mean, look, he got called up late, I think a few seasons ago, did pretty well. Obviously it wasn't flashing his summer league numbers or anything like that, but that guy has some good touch, man. He has a good touch. It looks like he's starting to become a little bit better defensively. I've tracked him a little bit. I would love to see him out there, man, especially right now when we don't know who the backup big is going to be.
Yeah, we don't. And look, obviously rumors and news are starting to come out about, obviously the Jericho Sims, and Precious has still not, like Chris said, has still been unsigned and that to me is an indication that a trade might be on the horizon. Something might be on the horizon, because Precious, to me, in my opinion, re-sign him, and then Knicks fan can go into the season saying, okay, when if Mitchell Robinson gets hurt, Precious can step into that role. Knicks can kind of go small in certain situations, but I'm sure a lot of Knicks fans won't be too thrilled about that. But, Precious has shown us that he is very capable of playing with the guys, with the starters. And look, he came in January, February, and he played above his head, right? He played above expectation. We did not know what to expect of Precious. And, so that situation is still up in the air, like we talked about last week, Chris. It's just a matter of what is going to happen come beginning of August. So we shall see. It's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, look, Precious came in here. Look, he didn't look good at first. He was obviously lost, didn't know the system, didn't know the plays. It looked really bad. You probably figured at that point, like, oh, man, he's never going to come off the bench ever again, especially with Tibbs. But he worked his way back in. Sparked us a couple times, gave us meaningful minutes whenever he was out there. I think you could do a lot worse than Precious, as far as getting a backup big at this point in time, in the offseason. So it wouldn't be the worst options. And you saw, I don't know if anybody has seen, but there was a video floating out there of Precious out there hitting threes. So he's out there working on his shot, So many times we've seen him in that corner corner spot, just bricking 3 after 3. So, maybe that's an improvement he makes this offseason. Who knows?
The typical summer videos of the
Oh, yeah.
players hitting threes, and they're the second coming of MJ. Like, oh, this guy's gonna do so well next season.
Black Ops videos,
Black Ops videos.
Melo made famous.
There we go. There we go. Hit some of these comments. Appreciate every single one of you guys in here. This is episode 60 of the Knicks Nation podcast. Smash the thumbs up button if you haven't done so already. Subscribe to the channel. Come join us here in the chat. CM says Knicks can pull contracts. Choice of McCullough, Huckporty, Jericho Sims, Jeffries, Toppin. Trade exception for Rashawn Holmes, third center with Achiuwa, second. Many different, what's going on, CM? Many different options, many different avenues where the Knicks can go come August. Ryan Chandler says clickbait regarding I think he was talking about the Jericho Sims thing.
Jericho Sims.
Yeah.
I can see it. It'd come out of nowhere.
Yeah. Lewis, what's going on? Guys, you know something about rumor about Looney Achiuwa swap. That's interesting. Looney and Achiuwa.
I haven't heard anything per se recently about that. It was floating around earlier, but I don't think there was any legs to it, in my opinion.
Yeah. So, look, I think Julius Randle is eligible for an extension August 3rd, if I'm not mistaken. He can sign up to $181 million over 4 years. So that situation is still up in the air. I'm not sure that gets done. So who knows? It could get done. They could agree on an extension in this next week, but I doubt it. Menno says, bro, Hartenstein put us in a bad place. I know the money doesn't last forever, but had he stuck it out, he would have gotten a bigger bag. That's Menno B in the chat. And yeah. I guess we can transition now to the players in, to the players out. So players in for the New York Knicks this season. Daddy, rookie. Tyler Kolek, rookie. Ariel Huckporty, rookie. Kevin McCullough Jr., rookie. Mikal Bridges. Keita Bates Diop. Oh, wait, is he still a Knick?
I believe so. Yeah. He was part of the Mikal trade, I believe.
And then campaign. So obviously, Chris, regarding those players, and it's cream of the top, Mikal Bridges.
Yes.
Yeah.
Still can't believe he's a Knick, man.
I know, right? I know. I can't believe he's a Knick. And then the players out. Precious Achiuwa still unsigned. We have his bird rights. Shake Milton, Alec Burks, Mamadi Diakite, Bojan Bogdanovic, Isaiah Hartenstein. So my question to you and those in the chat, will the gain of Mikal Bridges outweigh the loss of Isaiah Hartenstein? I guess, Chris, will the gain of Mikal Bridges outweigh the loss of Isaiah Hartenstein?
Part of me says yes. I'm leaning mostly towards yes, simply because, again, I feel like a broken record when I say this, but having OG Anunoby and Mikal Bridges, at least defensively, no, I mean offensively too. Because look, iHeart obviously came on strong offensively late in the season. He got that push floater going, obviously offensive boards and whatnot. I feel like with Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby just out there on the wings, it's gonna be chaos, man. We're gonna have such a great defensive scheme, in my opinion, even without Isaiah Hartenstein, that I think will make up for it. And offensively, we got Mikal Bridges, who learned what it was like to be the number one option, and will most likely be the third option on this team,
maybe fourth. But yeah,
maybe even fourth. So I think, that's a scoring punch right there, just waiting to be unlocked when needed. Whenever Julius or JB doesn't have it going, you got Mikal Bridges, you got OG Anunoby, you got Dante DiVincenzo, who took a leap this past season. I think we're good. All that we're missing, in my opinion, is the size of a 5.
Yeah, obviously the correct answer, in my opinion, is heck yes. And those of you in the chat says absolutely. John says hell yeah. Big Taz says no. We need those rebounds that iHeart was providing for us. So
Yeah. So that's what I was torn on, basically, is when it comes to just size,
yeah.
and grabbing a board.
Yes, obviously the gain of Mikal Bridges outweighs the loss of Isaiah Hartenstein. But guys, Isaiah Hartenstein meant a lot to this team, which is why when he left, I was pissed off, man. I was upset. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was like, he chose the money. Okay, look, he's set for life. I'm happy for him and his new family. Just had a baby. Congratulations. Hope you do well in OKC. But guys, Isaiah Hartenstein was a playmaker for us.
Yeah.
He was a great rebounder for us. His chemistry with Brunson was awesome. His chemistry with Randle was awesome. And offensively, he provided a lot. Not a lot, but he was not a threat, but he could make shots. Like he's no slouch on offense. So I think the loss is going to be, I'm not just going to say that, no, heck no, like Mikal Bridges is going to like outweigh the loss of Hartenstein, like no doubt. Like there's going to be times if this is, as of right now, July 28th, as the roster stands with Mitchell Robinson and kind of nobody behind him. I feel like there's going to be times during the season when, Hartenstein is going to be missed and we're going to see the absence of Hartenstein. But somebody in the chat said, you lose Isaiah Hartenstein. This was John. You lose Hartenstein, but you're getting Randle, Mitch, and Bridges. So I think offensively, obviously, we'll be amazing. We'll be fine. But, that center position, what Hartenstein brought, we're going to miss it. But now we just have to go into a season and hope for a healthy Mitch Robinson. Hope for a year where Mitchell Robinson, continues to improve offensively, because we know we can bring defensively. So we just have to hope for that.
Yeah.
As of right now, this could change in 2 weeks if the Knicks decide to go another direction in terms of the center position. But we'll miss Hartenstein for sure. I feel like we will miss him, but the addition of Mikal Bridges offensively, I just think we'll be lights out.
Yeah. I think so too. I think we'll be all right. Look, there's no denying when it comes to iHeart. I feel like the number one thing I'm going to miss from him is his passing. For a big, his passing is amazing.
Yeah,
and obviously the toughness, being able to get the offensive rebounds and whatnot. But John made a good point. Julius is back. He's somebody who can get you 9-8 rebounds a game. And who knows what his role is going to be. Maybe he's more active on that end. If like you said, the roster stays the way it is, maybe the Knicks kind of go small ball and Julius is there, focusing more on getting boards and maybe not so much on the offensive end. But, who knows? Who knows what'll happen? But I'd feel a lot better if the Knicks go out there and get a veteran backup big, someone who's at least 7 foot, just kind of throw a body out there at the least.
Yeah. Likewise, and I'm sure everyone else would. Let's see what you guys are saying here in the chat. Menno says Hartenstein was a key piece to our offense, to be honest. Keith says, we needed Hartenstein last year because of injuries. His skill set will be much less necessary this year with more offensive players and health. Yes. CM says, why do we wait so long to complete the Mikal trade? Everyone signed for the minimum. In the meantime, they were trying to find ways to stay under the tax, right, Chris? That's why they waited so long for that. And I believe
they didn't want to get hard capped, and then they worked out a couple more pieces with the Nets, and that's where Keita Bates-Diop came into the picture, and I believe we sent out Mamadi Diake as well, kind of just to make the money work and keep the Knicks from being hard capped.
John says, still have Mitch for rebounds. Big Taz says those rebounds are very important to our playing style. Yeah.
Agreed.
Then Keith says he means a lot, but only because of the injuries. And then he says he won't be as Mitch as y'all think. Last year, Hartenstein was Iron Man. Played 80. I think he played 82 games last year. 81 or 82 games, something like that. So he played the most games for the Knicks last year. And the thing that has hurt the Knicks has been injuries. So Hartenstein has been, a big part of our success. Just saying, those of you that just joined, will the gain of Mikal Bridges outweigh the loss of Hartenstein? A lot of people are saying no. So, no, a lot of people are saying that Mikal Bridges, ultimately, our offense will be, lights out. So, but I think personally Hartenstein will be missed, but we shall see at the end of the day.
I think he will be. I mean, look, it's obvious. Yes, Mitch got hurt. Ihart stepped in, played great, and eventually supplanted Mitch as the starting center on this Knicks squad. You can't downplay that, man. You can't downplay that, especially when it's Mitch, right? He was having an all NBA, all defensive NBA type of season before he got hurt. On the defensive side, he was a menace. Ihart steps in, and we don't miss a beat. We don't miss a beat. And not only that, we start running plays through Ihart. Offense starts rolling through him. Something you can't really do with Mitch. I think it's a huge, it's a huge loss. But you can't blame Ihart, right? He took the money. He's had that nagging Achilles injury. He probably, that's probably another reason why he didn't go for the Knicks offer. He's probably like, hey, I can't say no to this big contract OKC's throwing at me. Secure my future, secure my kids' future. My Achilles could blow, tomorrow. And then I'm stuck with a lesser contract with the Knicks. Could have been something like that,
Yeah.
that just he couldn't say no to. So it sucks. It did put us in a tight spot as far as backup big goes now. But I still feel we have a few more moves to make.
Likewise, Jabroni says Hartenstein played 75 games. I knew it wasn't 80. I think he played the most games on the New York Knicks last season because I remember having a trivia question regarding that. No, 75 games this past season, 82 games in 2022-2023. So I was correct. But yeah, 75 games this year and missed a few games with his Achilles injuries. So yeah, the addition of Mikal Bridges, in my opinion, will look. It's July 28th. Things can get done in these next couple of weeks. Precious Achiuwa is still out there. There has to be a reason as to why this guy isn't signed yet. So we just shall see regarding that. All right, Chris, you want to get to the Shaquille O'Neal reaction video? You want to get to it now?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right, here is Shaquille O'Neal saying that he thinks the New York Knicks are not close to winning an NBA championship.
Bridges got picked up. Is that enough to get New York in the conversation that they can take the East?
The Villanova.
Listen, no.
You just said you don't believe the Villanova team can win it.
You know what it is? New York is a place that's built on hype, that controls the hype. They can hype everybody else up. They haven't won, but New York. So young fella can play. I was wrong about him. He was impressed, but they're nowhere close to winning the championship. They're going to win some games and do this, but I'm more impressed with, at the end of your career, how many championships you won.
New York Knicks are nowhere close to winning a championship. That is the words from former great Shaquille O'Neal. Chris, what is your reaction?
I don't get it. I don't get it. How could you? I mean, maybe we're just all crazy, right? Maybe we're just all crazy. I mean, Shaq obviously has rings on rings on rings and whatnot, but it's kind of confusing to me, man. I mean, we literally just went through a season where I won't say easily, but look, we could have easily have gone to the Eastern Conference Finals, right? We could have been there, but our entire team basically dropped dead like flies, injury after injury after injury. And even with those injuries, we were still able to make a deep run, So adding Mikal Bridges, losing Ihart, really, if you want to go through the key pieces. We got a lot of guys that are now going to be healthy and hopefully stay healthy.
Yeah.
We're going to have our bench back, players like Josh Hart, Dante DiVincenzo possibly being back on the bench. I don't see how do we not at the least get to the Eastern Conference Finals? How are we not competing? How are we not close?
Yeah.
I don't get it.
For Shaq to say we're not close, I just think that's crazy talk, honestly.
We had no Julius Randle.
Yeah, so look, it's getting reaction out of us, and that's why a lot of people look. The TNT crew, I think this year coming up is their last season doing that show, and that's why a lot of Knicks fans are probably like,
maybe not though.
Maybe not. They could.
They're working on matching that contract.
No, I think it's officially the NBA took Amazon. Like the NBA took Amazon, and they denied TNT's offer. So now TNT, I think next season is their last season. Of course,
they're going to court, man.
Yeah. Of course, ESPN can pick up the crew. Amazon can pick up the crew. But look, during the playoffs, they just were, in my opinion, they were a bunch of haters, man. They just, not all of them, like Shaq and Charles Barkley were the two that were getting on my nerves pre and post. Weren't giving us credit. They just kept picking against us and whatever. But that's why a lot of Knicks fans are like, I'm good regarding that show. But yeah,
we got to win now.
Yeah,
it has to happen because they need to. I want to see their reactions before they get canned, man. We got to win now.
Jabroni says Shaq is a Jersey guy who always hates New York. A lot of people feel like little brothers to New York, and they have insecurities because they feel inferior. Trust, I'm a New York native who lives in Jersey. And then John says what you said, Chris. I love it because when the Knicks prove them wrong, they look dumb.
Yeah.
So,
yep.
Exactly. Look, that show has been entertainment. And if you're like a true basketball person and want to really get analysis on such game, I feel like that show has kind of led to the casual basketball fans. The guys who catch a game here and there. Oh, let me just turn on TNT and let me laugh because they're funny. Shaq falling on the floor, Charles Barkley doing his shenanigans, Kenny and Shaq racing to the wall. I just feel like that's the entertainment side of it. But when it comes to actually analysis, I just think what we've heard from them regarding their opinions on the New York Knicks over this, especially this past season, it just hasn't made any sense. And maybe it's trying to get a reaction out of us. Maybe because the Knicks fan base is so large that they like the engagement. But I don't know.
I think it's a big letdown because I used to watch these guys, the TNT crew. I grew up watching them basically. And I always thought, all right, hey, they don't talk about the Knicks much. We were terrible. I mean, we ran through the past 5 Knicks coaches, and that record speaks for itself. So they always had the jokes, right? But you'd figure when it come time and the Knicks were a good team and they were going the right path, they were competing, they'll change their tune and give them the props that they deserve, right? Yeah. I mean, I get it. We're not winning championships or anything like that yet. So, I get the people that are like, hey, slow your roll. But at the same time, it's like, don't just try to play us like, we're not making moves. Like, we're not inching closer to that ultimate goal, right? I mean, that's what bothers me the most. They're just downright, like, you saw in that video, like, he did not even wait for the question to be finished. He's like, no way. They're not competing.
Hater.
They're a fake team. So, it's mind-boggling, man. And it kind of sucks. It's a letdown, man. You'd figure these guys would it's like a grudge. It's like a grudge they're holding for whatever reason,
Yeah, exactly. Menno says they'd have to work for Amazon if they're staying. Jabroni, Inside the NBA is for people who don't actually watch basketball, have something to talk about. at the water cooler at work. Exactly. And it's just, and look, maybe this is the way the NBA world is kind of going, because we have the Stephen A. Smith side of it, it's just entertainment, and it entertains people, the hot takes. But, I get it at the end of the day, but it stinks. I guess that's why, we have YouTube and, us Knicks content creators, and we just come on here, those who are actually passionate about the New York Knicks and just talk, basketball, So appreciate every single one of you in here. But this is from Fred Katz too. I think this was last week. I have absolutely no indication that the Knicks are trying to trade Julius Randle. Once again, Julius Randle is eligible for an extension in the beginning of August. It's no indication that he is going to sign an extension with the New York Knicks. Haven't heard anything regarding that. It is close. So just giving you guys as much news as possible. So this is the news regarding that. He has no indication that the Knicks are trying to trade Julius Randle. And we spoke about this last podcast episode, Chris. Knicks don't extend Julius Randle. He's going into essentially his last year of his contract, because he has a player option that he can deny and become an unrestricted free agent next season. But, I don't think anything is going to get done. I think the deadline will be in October, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't think anything is going to get done. I think the Knicks want to try to see if Randle has to prove that he's healthy, number one.
Yeah.
So, and we've talked about how Julius Randle means a lot to this team. So
exactly.
Yeah.
And in every interview he's been on, he's basically echoed that sentiment that there's unfinished business here, and how much he wish he was a part of the run, this past season. So I think they're both Julius's camp, and then obviously the New York Knicks front office. I think they're both in lockstep in the sense where maybe they're just like, hey, let's see how it goes. You prove to us that you're healthy. You prove to us that you can still be the player we know you are, or can be, I should say. And Julius is like, hey, I'm gonna show you guys my shoulder's good. Obviously he's been rehabbing, and if he goes out there and shows the Knicks early that he's looking like the Julius Randle they know, who's to say an extension won't follow that, right? So I think it's kind of just both sides waiting and seeing how things look.
Exactly. So regarding an extension, we just have to wait and see. I saw a comment in here earlier regarding somebody asking if we thought Tom Thibodeau was the coach to bring us to the promised land. David, there we go. Thibs never coached a team to the NBA Finals. David asks, is Thibs the right coach to get the Knicks to the next level? Appreciate the comment, David. We kind of spoke about it earlier in the pod. If you're just joining us, we spoke about Tom Thibodeau and the New York Knicks reaching an extension that'll take them all the way to 2028. It goes in junction with the Jalen Brunson extension. So those two are essentially tied to the hip. But I truly believe Thibs can take us to the promised land. I truly believe that. And now when you look at our team going up against Boston, going up against Milwaukee, going up against Philly, we handled Philly last year, and the cream of the top is Boston. What the Knicks do, they acquire Mikal Bridges. They kind of make it an easier coaching job for Tom Thibodeau, putting Dante on the bench, putting Josh Hart on the bench, Deuce McBride on the bench, and whoever the Knicks decide to back up Mitchell Robinson, and sprinkle in the rookies here and there. I'm not saying that's the rotation, but I do. I truly believe that. I truly believe when it's all said and done, if we were to ever get to an NBA Finals, hopefully it's this season, please. That would be nice. I would love that, right? Wouldn't you love that?
That'd be amazing.
Yeah, I think he can. I think he can. And I get the hate that comes with Thibs. I get it. Do I agree with it? No, but I get it.
Would you say that this is the best team Tom Thibodeau has coached? And this is going back to the Derrick Rose Bulls.
Yes.
You do?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you have a team to compare this team to, going back to his Bulls days? I do. I truly do. During his time in Minnesota, he had a pretty good team with Towns and Butler. But I truly do think will be Tom Thibodeau's best team that he's ever coached.
Yeah. I mean, look, he did take the Bulls to the Eastern Conference Finals. Obviously, that was a good team as well. But again, I echo back to this past season, with, I guess you can argue, maybe a little bit of a lesser team, considering Julius Randle was not a part of the run and guys were getting hurt left and right. We could easily have been in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah.
So now you talk about adding a Mikal Bridges. Obviously, yes, we lost Ihart. But, if you asked me a couple seasons ago, do I think Tom Thibodeau is the guy? I would have told you he's the guy to change the culture, but he's not going to be the guy here when we win the chip. But honestly, the way that we have built this team, they're all Tibbs guys.
Yeah.
There's probably no other coach I'd want to be coaching this team than Tibbs, because they all will just fit in perfectly with the way he likes to coach, and everybody's bought in. And that's what you want from a coach. You want a coach to come in, change the culture, and have them buy into your system. And these guys seem to love Tibbs for whatever reason, I'll say it again. He has to be doing something right when you got your superstar, Jalen Brunson, basically saying, don't come to me with extension talks. Don't come to me with a new contract or anything until you take care of Tibbs. So.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and
I think he can.
That's the key. Everyone's bought into him. They surrounded Tibbs with players that, are not going to complain about practice, are not going to complain about this and that just want to play ball. We don't have any divas on the New York Knicks. We don't have anyone complaining. That's not who we are, and that has to deal with the culture. So, yes. But yeah, I agree with you in terms of, remember last year I said I think Tibbs, I thought Johnny Bryant would take over for Tibbs and Tibbs would go into the front office position.
Yeah.
But we had such a good year this year where I feel like things change. And my attitude towards Tibbs has changed as well. So, yeah.
And not only that, Tibbs has been on the record, even before he got the New York job, right? He was saying, this is my dream job. I've always wanted this job. So again, to have a coach who actually wants to be here, who came here when we were god awful, has gone through what he has gone through and still has a winning record at this point in time. Look, they're all invested. They're all invested. They all want to win. And what more can you ask for from a coach and a team, right? They all are unified in this one goal to win a championship. And that's ultimately what we want. So I'll take it, man.
Yes, sir. Hope that answered your question. All right, so let's get into some, Knicks news. What's going on around the New York Knicks? Obviously, it's summertime. Not really much going on regarding, the players. You have Mikal Bridges switching back to number 25. Sorry for the ones that bought number 1 jerseys already, he says. I saw a couple of tweets on Twitter, at Knicks Nation on Twitter, by the way. And Chris, your Twitter is at, I guess we can.
CAPR 421.
What is it?
At CAPR 421.
So that's Chris's Twitter. That's Chris's Twitter, and obviously at Knicks Nation on Instagram as well. But yeah, Chris, Mikal Bridges back to number 25. I saw a couple of tweets about some fans bought number 1 jerseys, and I was like, that sucks, man. But hey, going back to the Villanova days and the Phoenix Sun days.
That sucks. I'm happy I didn't jump the on that wagon and just get a number 1 Mikal Bridges jersey.
Will you buy a number 25 Bridges jersey?
I still gotta get my OG Anunoby.
Yeah, there's a lot of jerseys.
I was waiting for the OG. I still want to get a Josh Hart jersey. OG Anunoby. I waited to make sure he resigned. Had me nervous for a second, but yeah, I might get the whole damn roster at this point.
Do you know that the last Knick to wear number 25? Do you know off the top of your head?
Was it Derrick Rose?
Derrick Rose was in 2017, and then I think he switched his number when he came back, didn't he? I think he switched his number again. But it is not Derrick Rose.
But he did have it, right?
He did have it. When he first got here, he did have it. It was Mama Diakite. And then prior to that was Reggie Bullock, 2020, 2021.
Nah, man, if I got that, I'm the GOAT. I would have never guessed that.
Yeah, but Derrick Rose in 2017 was number 25. And before Derrick Rose was Timothy Mozgov.
Oh, man, that's way back.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think I'm going to get an OG jersey. There's a lot of jerseys I want to get. Hart,
Yeah.
OG.
Even a DiVincenzo jersey.
Yeah. DiVincenzo. Yeah, exactly. And Jalen Brunson was at the New York Yankees and Mets game this past week, and I think the Yankees got slaughtered in that game. He got swept by the Mets.
Jersey swapped with the wrong team, man. What can I say?
Chris is the Met fan.
Yeah, baby. Let's go. Let's go,
Yeah.
Mets.
So JB, and I think in one of the videos that one of the reporters put out, he was saying that he was going, like I actually listened to Jalen Brunson and I think it was Francisco Lindor. They were having a conversation. You can hear Brunson sort of telling him that he's dealing with doctor's appointments with his wrist, with his hand, and that he's good to go pretty much regarding his injury. So that's some good news in regarding that. And we also see some Josh Hart pictures online that he's on vacation. Look, the guys are on vacation, having fun and whatnot. It's summertime, not really much going on, but it's just fun to see the guys out there. And Bridges was on the podcast with Paul George. Did you catch some of that?
Yeah, I did catch some of that. I thought that was pretty interesting.
When Melo said that he wouldn't have taken the
Yeah. What I mean, that's just classic Melo, but it kind of like, he was talking about Jalen Brunson taking the crazy extension in his eyes that giving up over $100 million, whatnot. And Melo was like, I wouldn't do it. No way. I wouldn't leave no money on the table.
Yeah.
Which, kind of confirms, things in the past when it was like, did Melo want to win or did Melo want his money, Like, did he want to sacrifice some money to win? Nah, I guess not.
Yeah.
But he did mention, it was different back then. It was way different back then. Obviously, they did make a lot of money, but not the type of money they're making nowadays. So I thought that was hilarious, though. Melo was like, I never do it. Never.
Yeah, he said, I'm not doing it. We're those of you that don't know what we're talking about, Chris just laid it out. We're talking about Carmelo Anthony and Mikal Bridges were on Paul George's podcast. If you haven't checked it out, I think it's Podcast P or something like that. And they were talking about the Brunson extension. They were bantering with Mikal Bridges, and Melo said, he said, I'm not doing it. But if you listen to the podcast, he I think it was kind of taken out of context because he kind of explained why Jalen Brunson did that. And he explained, something else has to be coming that, on the back end, he can make that money up. So it's not like Melo was just like, nah, I'm not never doing that. But I kind of think that was kind of taken out of context a little bit. But yeah, Melo taking less money. Yeah, we knew that.
That was definitely something to clip. Of course, there's always the history with Melo and what people thought about him and whatnot. But I mean, let's be real. If Melo did take a pay cut back in the day, who knows what type of roster would have been thrown out there for him anyway? Because
I think his second contract, he did take a little less.
He did.
If I'm not mistaken.
It became almost nothing.
Yeah.
For the team. So that's what I say too. That's why back then it was just different. Obviously different rules, different ZBA and whatnot. So, but it is what it is.
Yeah. So that was Mikal Bridges was also saying that it's going to be electric to play in New York, and he's excited to play with not just his Villanova guys. He was making it apparent that he is excited to play with OG and he'll be excited to play with Randle, and so on and so forth. What?
I was just thinking about that podcast, and they were just trying to get Mikal Bridges to like say anything about like the Nets, and Melo was like, "Welcome to New York, welcome to the A team," basically, and Bridges looked a little bit uncomfortable at times. I'll just put it that way.
He did at times somewhat, but it was pretty cool. Ready for some trivia? We haven't done trivia in a couple of what's going on, Chris? We haven't done trivia in like the last 3 podcast episodes. We gotta do trivia.
We gotta get back to it.
The people want it. The people want trivia. They love trivia. Let's do it.
Let's do the trivia. All right, and here we go. Since 1983, who is the longest tenured New York Knicks head coach? Is it A, Hubie Brown, B, Pat Riley, C, Tom Thibodeau, or D, Jeff Van Gundy?
Chris laying out the trick questions again. Tom Thibodeau obviously signed his extension last week. But I do not think he is the longest Knick tenured head coach. Hubie Brown, Pat Riley, Tom Thibodeau, or D, Jeff Van Gundy. Those of you in the chat, if you want to chime in, if you want to give your guesses, you're more than welcome to do so. Tom Thibodeau has been here for quite some time, but what was it, 2019, 2020? That's when we signed Thibodeau.
He's been here for a while.
For four seasons? Is that a while? I don't know. I don't think that's a while. Pat Riley. I don't think it's Pat Riley. Hubie Brown. I'll be lying to you if I knew how long Hubie Brown coached the Knicks, but I don't think it was that long. So I'm haggling between Thibodeau and Van Gundy because I know Van Gundy was here for quite some time. Not a long time, but quite some time. And now Van Gundy is, I don't know where he went from ESPN to Boston to, I think he's with the Clippers organization, right?
Is he? I thought he was still consulting the Celtics, but you could be right, actually.
Yeah, I think he went to the Clippers. All right. Enough of me trying to figure this out. I am going with, it will be Tom Thibodeau. I'll tell you that. It will be, but it is not. I'm going with D, Jeff Van Gundy. Final answer.
D, Jeff Van Gundy. Final answer?
Final answer. And I did not look in the chat, Chris. I promise you that. I did not look in it. The chat is to my right, and we have a lot of guesses.
The chat is also saying, we got John, we got Keith saying, we got Menno saying D, Jeff Van Gundy, and that is correct. It is Jeff Van Gundy, who coached from 96 through 2002 for the New York Knicks.
Let's go. 6 seasons?
Yeah, followed by, I believe, Hubie Brown coached 83 to 87. Pat Riley coached from 92 to 95. And obviously Tom Thibodeau, from, 2021 to present time. So eventually it will be Tibbs, It
will.
But
wait,
Jeff, man,
who knows nowadays, man? No, I hope so, but
I hope so too. I mean, hey, we wanted Jeff Van Gundy to take over for Tibbs back in the day too. So
yeah, we did. So I am now 3-3. Chris is 4-2. He is winning the trivia round.
Let's go.
I get a chance to stump Chris next podcast episode. So yeah, Jeff Van Gundy, final answer. Appreciate every single one of you chiming in the chat. Most of you got it right, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Meno says Hubie Brown only coached them for like 5 years.
Yeah.
David says Van Gundy got the Knicks to the NBA Finals in '99, a number 8 seed. David Smith. Yeah. Jeff Van Gundy.
Van Gundy was the truth, man.
He
Knicks
was.
were always in the playoffs.
Yeah, they were. Anything else we didn't cover on, Chris? We covered pretty much. I mean, not really much we covered on pretty much what we wanted to cover on Johnny Bryant stuff and the extension talk. So not really.
Unfortunately, there hasn't been much news as of late. We're all waiting to see who the hell the backup big is gonna be for the New York Knicks. Whether we go out and we make a trade, whether it's Precious, whether it's Skapensev, who knows? But yeah, no. I mean, pretty much we did a little bit of a recap of the news the past week or so. So as always, if anything breaks, anything comes down, we'll let you guys know.
Yes, we will be on here as soon as something breaks. So we got the Thibs extension out the way. Job ain't finished though. This has been fun. Got a lot out the way, like Chris said. As soon as something breaks, we will be back. If you're just listening to us on the audio side, like I said earlier in the episode, please leave us a review, a rating on Apple and Spotify. Those of you on YouTube, you can also hop over to the audio side as well. Really helps us out regarding that. We have a Discord that you guys can join. The link is in the description. I'm in there. Chris is in there. Obviously, it's summertime. Not really much going on, but it's fun. We post memes. We post pictures. We banter about the New York Knicks, especially during the games. It's fun. And then at Knicks Nation, Chris's Twitter is
at CAPR421. Somebody come up with a better name for me.
And then on Instagram, it's at Knicks Nation as well. This was fun. We'll be back.
We'll be back, hopefully, with news on a backup big for the New York Knicks, or who knows, maybe a trade.
Hey, maybe a trade. This has been episode 60 in the books. As always, it is Let's Go Knicks. Appreciate every single one of you for giving us your time. Time is very valuable. So Sunday night on July is coming to an end, which is kind of crazy. August next month. Whew, time is flying.
Time is flying, man.
Alrighty, I'm Anthony from Knicks Nation. That is...
I am Chris.
We'll catch you guys next time. Peace.
Peace.